Fender launched a new line of instruments, the Player Plus series. Jim, maybe you want to talk about what Player Plus actually is, and then we can talk about what it really is.
Yeah. You want me to tell you what you want me to go over what it really does? Well, all right. So this is what I see as Player Plus. And you want me to start with what I gave you as earlier?
Well, why don't we just talk?
Right, let's talk about the specifics.
All right.
So the Player Plus, here's what Fender did. So they took the players, they rolled the fingerboard, and they put noiseless pickups in them.
I think there's actually a little bit more here too, but go ahead.
There's a couple more. The basics, the bare bones of the things you'll like the most are or most people will like most: noiseless pickups, rolled fingerboard, 12-inch radius, and locking tuners.
Locking tuners. 2-point tremolo, which is no longer standard on most of the line.
That's right. 2-point tremolo, and on the vinyls that have the tremolo, and you have the there's some accoutrements like the spaghetti logo. Oh, and you get the push-pull.
So you get
so on the Stratocaster, that pulls in the depends on which one you get. If you get an HSS,
right.
Splits coil. If you get a SSS, it's very much like the it's really just a player version of the Lux, the Deluxe. So you've got the push pull for the regular telly. I wanted to get it right. The regular telly, the two pickup telly, that push pull puts them in phase reverses the pickups, or puts them in series. The other one, the Nashville telly, brings in the neck pickup no matter what position you're in. The Stratocaster, it brings in the neck pickup on the SSS. On the HSS, like I said, it splits the coil. That's what I've got.
22 fret neck, which traditionally they're 21. Colors you've never seen before, right? So I believe they're all colors we've never seen before. Bellar Blue is actually like a two-tone, which is a front to back fade.
I like that blue. I like the blue.
That one and the tequila, that sunrise color are
the
gorgeous.
Tequila sunrise is a really cool looking.
The Cosmic Jade is good looking. That's green. Yeah. That green sparkle. Green they do have a 3-color sunburst. That's the only one in the line that you've seen before. And then the silver burst is very similar to what you'll find in the mocha burst. I think it is on the on the high end one.
I don't have
the ultra. Okay.
Yep.
So here I'm gonna play devil's advocate a bit because I'm not buying one of these. That's my devil's advocate on this. I want everybody to know this is aimed at me. Like, this is a shot across my bow. I looked at these and I was like, hot damn, they're finally figuring it out. They built a modern Stratocaster. This is what people want right now, which is this is a circular, is what this is at $9.99. That is what this is. The only things it doesn't have. Sorry, I reverted to my ancestral ways. The things that it doesn't have.
The only thing it ain't got.
Yeah, the only thing it don't got. It doesn't have the Godot 510. Right? It has their version of the Godot 510, which is a 2-point tremolo. It doesn't have stainless steel frets, but it's not an American-made guitar, but a Mexican-made guitar at $9.99. You're not going to get stainless steel frets on that. If you were going to get that out of Ibanez, you can get the, I forget what the name of the series is, AZ, made in Indonesia. Okay, big difference there in terms of labor and price. So, I looked at these and I was like, wow, they just basically took the sales out of Charvel, because a lot. Jim, you missed on one important element of these. These are a 12-inch radius.
Oh, I mentioned that.
Oh, did you? I didn't recall you saying that. These are a 12-inch radius, which is why I said. That's super important.
That is shot right at us. That's meant for us too. Yeah. Seriously.
And AZ players and Sir players and all of the modern Stratocaster 12-inch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Here's where it gets interesting, right? So like, let's think about the price point for minutes. These are between 1,000 and I think it's 1,100.
Or 11.
I think the most expensive one's like 1,100.
Yeah. Unless you go to the base, then I think it's $11.99 for the 5-string deluxe.
Yeah, which the base just seems like we just needed to make sure we offer a bass in these colors.
Yeah, they got a 5-string jazz. I meant to say active, not deluxe. Then that one I think is $11.99.
Put it in perspective on this one. We'll go through the P bass spec here for a minute. 3-band active EQ, so it's active.
Yep.
4-saddle high mass bridge. That's something that people have asked about for years.
That's right.
12-inch radius fingerboard with rolled edges, and a modern C-shaped neck. So that is actually decidedly modern as well. I don't think that you're going to. This is more like a shot against like G&L or companies like that are offering a modern bass that has vintage aesthetic. I didn't look at the Telecaster a whole lot, so I'm excited by these. I think for a player, I think we started the show. We talked about the professional delineation line of a guitar being $1,000. I think these are firmly like this is the top of the Weekend Warrior class, and I think that these are going to sell really well for them. Jim, you had a comment though that I thought was very interesting. It was something about cannibalism.
I was talking about the iPhone thing.
Oh no, I thought you said that when we talked about this initially that you said this was going to cannibalize Fender sales.
Oh, it will. And here's the thing. So if these were out when I bought my Ultra, I'd have bought one of these.
Yeah. Why would you buy an Ultra?
No brainer. I don't need a compound radius. I just didn't want a 9.5-inch radius. I didn't need all the other stuff. To be honest with you, what is the Ultra got, and especially even the Lux? What's the Lux really giving you that this guitar doesn't give you?
Well, on the Ultra, you get the heel. And that, in my mind, is the main selling point of those guitars.
And that's exactly what got me to my comment before about what Fender's doing. It's just like iPhone. It's like Apple. But we can come back to that if you want.
Well,
here's the thing.
I think we touched on it on the episode I just edited and put up, which is that's like the custom shop thing. They're putting these artificial lines in the sand,
right,
for you to have to jump through hoops to get to the next model.
That's right. So they had to leave two things out. They had to leave that contour heel. And here's the thing: they could have put the other series of the contoured heel, the kind of contoured heel,
the one that was just like the curve.
The Deluxe. It's just a little curve.
It was flat with a circle around it, so instead of a square in your hand, you had the thing.
You little, but the thing is that the only thing the Deluxe is the Ultra Deluxe even. So mine, I keep pointing back, but it's actually on the floor behind me. Mine has the nice, beautiful contoured heel, right? I love that heel, by the way. That's a huge selling point for me, and I love the neck. And the other thing that they're giving you is the in the Deluxe Ultra is the gosh darn stainless steel frets that you just mentioned. So really, this is an Ultra without the contoured heel, or a Deluxe Ultra without the contoured heel and the stainless steel frets. And go ahead. I just think
buy one of these, get a deal on it.
Yeah.
Take it to your luthier, give them the $550, have them put in stainless steel frets, do your single fret job you'll ever have to do on the guitar, and be done with it. The heel,
you have to get
totally minimal issue. People make way bigger deal out of that than it is.
How many of us are playing up that high, that often, that much? Exactly.
You see the good smile here?
Yeah, because you do. I'm one of those. There's no money behind the 9th fret or whatever. I rarely play, even when I'm up high, I rarely play beyond the 17th fret. Rarely. And if I am on the 17th fret, guess what strings I'm on?
The PRS is the first guitar I've ever had where I play up the 24th.
Yeah. I believe that.
Yeah.
That's because it's a very comfortable guitar to play it up.
Well, I mean, I suck at playing above the 22nd because the frets get so thin in between, and I got sausage fingers. But
Yep.
I actually do use the stuff beyond the 22nd now, which I'm like looking at my lowly Strat over here and going, what am I going to do with you? No, I tell you what I'm going to do with you. I'm putting 9s on you because I can't handle those manly 10s anymore. I bought 2 sets of 9s today for the first time in like a decade. We'll get to that. That's a whole other conversation. I can go into Gig Report or something.
Well, like I said, I just think that's so I recently, as you know, I just ordered the iPhone 13. I got the 11 Pro Max. My kid, his phone got crushed. One of my sons. So I'm giving him my 11 Pro Max, which just got paid off. So I did the thing. Anyway, so here I am with the 11 Pro Max, getting the 13 Pro Max. And the only thing I'm getting is eventually cinematic mode, which is actually not coming right away. Some, an A15 Bionic versus the A14 Bionic. I'm getting the, the smallest of upgrades. A lot more battery life. That's the one thing that everybody's.
You are getting a not incrementally better camera, but a camera that's like on another level totally.
Yeah, and I'm getting I'm getting a battery that's on another level, and I'm doubling my RAM,
your storage capacity.
This is a 0.5 terabyte. Now the funny thing is, I have shot video with this. I've literally shot whole gigs worth of video, just
same
video whole
same.
Time. And guess what?
But there's a reason for that, Jim, because it squashes the files. If you're using a video app that'll actually do a less lossy encoding, you'll fill that up fast.
I know.
I have to clear mine out pretty regularly, especially when I use it for the show. So,
yeah. But the terabyte's going to be nice. The 1 terabyte's going to be nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my point of all that is, it's like, should I get a player? If you're a person saying, should I get a player or should I keep my player? Should I get a Player Plus? Here's the question you have to ask yourself. Do you want the noiseless pickups? Do you want the rolled fingerboard? Do you want the 12-inch radius? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself. Because on the player, you have the 9.5-inch radius, the flatter.
And the price is negligible. The price difference is negligible. Like $750 to $900.
Yeah.
Save your coin for another month.
Pennies.
And then get into the $9.99 one. Like, why?
I would.
I honestly think Fender's doing something here. I think Fender's sort of playing with fire. So I think Fender is create. Now remember, this is a really small series. There's 4 total guitars in this series. There's a SSS Strat. I'm getting there. An HSS Strat. A 2 pickup Telly. I don't think they did another one, did they? And then they did the Precision.
And the 3 pickup Telly.
Oh, I'm not seeing all of them, I guess. But I think there's 6 models. There's 2 Tellys, the 2 pickup, the 3 pickup, and then the Precision and a Jazz bass.
That's right.
So
and there's a 5-string Jazz as well. So you
so
add that one.
All right. But that's like a super basic run for them.
Yep.
And there's no Jazz Masters. There's no let's keep that in mind. They didn't touch any of the other stuff that will likely come at some point in the future because I think Fender is testing the water on whether they can sell modern guitars. They know that the vast majority of their sales is vintage focused. And I think they're starting to realize they have a super young market and that that young market is now not as interested in vintage as they were because they're producing quality stuff. They've kind of changed the mode over the last couple of years that modern Fender is not as bad as it once was. And you can buy a modern Fender and it's comparable to some of the vintage stuff that you've had your hands on over the years. Would I buy a modern Fender over a 1970s Fender? Probably. Is that a dumb move? Probably, because my 1970s Fender will go up in value. The modern one? Forget it. But that's where this all gets interesting, right? So they launch 5 or 6 guitars. what are they really doing? They're going to tip their toe in this water, and then they're going to find out there's a plethora of people that are willing to purchase this stuff. And
these things will be gone so fast, your heads will spin.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be hard to get. And what's going to happen is they're going to double the line with the number of models, and eventually they're going to phase out the regular Player Series. That's what's going to happen long term. The Player Plus will turn into the Player Series. You'll see a blurring of the lines.
Right. You'll have what they call that, the American Performer, whatever. That's going to be the only old-fashioned.
I can even see them having a line called American Vintage.
Yeah,
and even Player,
or
even Player Vintage. So for the people that are like, somebody looking for that 57 Strat, they can get the Player Vintage model. And I wouldn't even be surprised if some of the features and accoutrements for those are actually more specific to what vintage guitars are really like. Because a lot of their stuff is middle-of-the-road vintage right now. It has certain features that you would find on vintage guitars, but not all the features you would find on a vintage guitar. Notice that everything in their line is in a 9.5-inch radius almost. There's not a whole lot of production with 7.25. And I could see them going back and making a 61 reissue and a 57 reissue that have that 7.25-inch radius and going that way with the vintage style stuff so it's more accurate, and then having this modern stuff fill the void for the players that they've traditionally been targeting. I think they're sort of looking at the line and they're going, in 2 or 3 years, they're going to be looking at the line and going, wow, so we can actually have a diversified lineup. We don't have to just have like one guitar that tries to satisfy both sides of the market. And they're at this unique position now where they can do that because let's face it, Jim, the entire time we've been doing the show, it's like, I think we started in like 2015. Yeah. Fender has been the dominant guitar company, which my entire childhood from 2000 up, Fender was kind of like, everybody knew Fender and most people liked them, but I felt like there were a lot of other companies people were buying. Ibanez was the big company when I was a kid, and the other one was Gibson. Like everybody had Les Pauls, and that's since died out because of course I grew up during nu metal, which is a big part of that, and Paul Reed Smith, right? So now it's gone Fender, 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 Fender. Everywhere I look, I see Fender guitars. And that is a testament to how good their marketing is. It's a testament to how they sit in the marketplace, how their guitars are perennially good. And I feel like this is going to be just another icing on the cake for them. Now, we usually don't have positive comments about a launch of products they do because they do stuff like the Paranormal series, which just don't make sense. That's them trying to compete with Reverend, or somebody like that. It just doesn't make sense. They need to focus on the side of the market that's not just buying guitars and hanging them on the wall, and focus on the people that are playing them day to day. That is your core. These are the models that everybody loves and, we've sold for decades unchanged kind of thing. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I think this is going to be a good launch for them. I think you kind of echo that sentiment. You were talking about incremental changes with like how I actually kind of disagree with that in a sense. I kind of want to touch on that briefly. So you're saying like each iteration of the iPhone has like marginal changes to the next iPhone, and that this is like an extension of what the Player Series is. Now they got the Player Plus, and I don't that denotes like passage of time. I think they already segment their lineup at any given time to be like, this price point gives you this, and this price point gives you this, and this price point gives you this.
Right, but remember, these were the deluxes. Mm-hmm. What they've done is they've done away with the deluxe and brought it to Player Plus. So really, you got to compare these two, not the Player, but the. Well, but
the deluxe is still around. So that's why I'm saying that's a little bit different.
No, they're doing away with them. That's just it. They're doing away with the deluxe. That's what Anderton said. Anderton said they're doing away with the deluxe.
Oh, so right. We're talking about the deluxe players. Okay, because
that's what I meant. Player.
I was thinking you were talking about the Ultra. This is them getting super complicated with the way that they've named their stuff.
Yeah.
Because they used to have the deluxe was the old Ultra under the older. Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Makes sense. Yeah. All right.
So they're getting away with doing away with the deluxe line, which was the one above the Player, and they're bringing these in. So they did away with that's what I was saying about they took away the heel joint, which is weird because The deluxes, some of the deluxes had the carved heel joint, and so again, and this is the other thing that I was talking about. I think that the one thing they keep leaving off, there's always, and it's not always the same thing. There's just always one thing. Well, let's leave the heel carve off. Let's put this in there. Let's
one
give
snag.
them a heel.
Let's give them all these accoutrements, but let's leave off the stainless steel and let's leave.
Right. Because we want to give people this odd feeling that they have to buy the Deluxe Ultra.
Yeah, but that's a segmentation. So this is the difference between what Apple does and what Fender's done. Fender's setting up a lineup that they intend to sell stacked all at the same time, right? Whereas when Apple does it, they plan on phasing out older products almost at the same time. Notice the time when they do a product announcement, they've already closed out the other ones. So, or the 2 generations prior, or whatever it is. But that's basically that's how they do their delineation of features. And if Fender was only offering a finite number, I would totally agree with you. But I think I only sort of half agree with you. And I do think there's similarities between the stacked sales method where incremental steps up to the ladder of how much money you want to spend gets you how much features. And I think that's the way that pretty much every product gets sold, where you have these features. But the thing that sucks about it is they have so many products that these lines in the sand they're drawing are they're kind of hilarious. Here's this super modern playing guitar with a giant neck heel, right? 12-inch radius, all the accoutrements you would expect on a modern style guitar, except here's this giant neck heel. What the hell? Now, here's what I think. And this is I'm glad we didn't transition away from this topic because there was something that was brought up by you just a minute ago that just sort of clicked something in my head. Who's Fender competing with right now? What is the guitar that was a warning shot across Fender's bow in the last 5 years that made them kind of wake up and go, wait a minute, maybe we need to rethink about how we're approaching this. And it's.
Are you talking about the PRS, the
Silver Sky? I'll tell you why. Your average Strat player today, that's younger, right? Which is Fender is very young focused. They're not so much focused on the older side of the market as people think they are. Because they have diehards over there already. They don't really need to worry about satisfying those people at this point. They want to bring in new blood, which is why they have things like their guitar teaching thing that's aimed at millennials and younger actually. So let's shift focus back to topic at hand. The PRS Silver Sky was a shot across their bow because all those young players, they all like John Mayer. They all look at John Mayer like Eric Clapton. So they're looking at it and going, uh-oh, he just did a guitar with a giant neck heel. And it's got a lot of the features that we used to have. The 2-point bridge is very, very similar to the notched post bridge that PRS does, right?
Right.
It's very and a lot of the things that the Silver Sky has are very similar to Fender-esque stuff already, but they're not being done in a way that John could have had done at Fender. And if they do these features, Fender knows they're going to lose because they don't have anything to counter that. So when they built this guitar, I think there might have been a little bit of a talk about, is the neck heel a detriment or a feature? Because the Silver Sky stole like hotcakes with a freaking giant neck heel on it. And there's another guitar coming out of PRS that's a warning shot across Fender's bow with a giant neck heel on it. Which one is that? It's
the Fiore.
Fiore. The Fiore. Yeah. Which, from what I understand, is pre-ordered out the ass. You can't get it.
It's good luck trying to get one of those.
Yeah, I mean, so it's the next Silver Sky, right?
Yeah.
So put that into perspective. If your target market is spending $2,000 on a competitor's guitar that's basically the same as what you've been offering with a few minor differences, you're going to start paying attention to that. And I think Fender sort of like made this guitar, and they're kind of looking at it and going, the neck heel isn't a detriment here. It's a tonal thing. We left the neck heel on here because we think certain people will actually like it. It's the same kind of people that would be willing to buy this guitar. Now, granted, there's a huge difference between a 12-inch radius and a 7.25. So I kind of wonder if that's not what's going on with this series, but I suspect that some of the other weirder Stratocaster style offerings we've been seeing lately are sort of like, yeah, we know we screwed up on that one. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't start seeing some 7.25 necks out of Fender. I think that's almost inevitable at this point. And the neck heel, at some point, if you see in the marketing, neck heel provides extra tonal snap or something. It wouldn't shock me if you don't see that at some point in the next couple of years in marketing over there. But I think that's how this guitar happened without the rounded heel. The lower end rounded heel, not the big chamfer thing. Because they were looking and they're going, well, who are we compete with? The Silver Sky is the only thing we compete with, and quite frankly, that's got a giant neck heel on it. So maybe it's not that big an issue. And I think that's really how that conversation probably went down. Because it's...
You've got to wonder, is it because of John Mayer? Because Mark Fiore is not... He's a name, but he's not as big a name. But
it's not Mark Fiore.
No, not Fiore. Mark Lettieri.
Yeah, yeah. Fiore means flower.
Yeah. Fiore is flower. It was
his daughter named the guitar. No, his daughter named it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
I just saw him recently. He's incredible.
Yeah, you saw his show. So
yeah.
My point is, he's not exactly a household name, but that guitar is flying out.
Yeah,
it's not even getting to the shelves.
Because
it's flying out the doors before it can get to the shelves.
It's a circular. Look at it. It's a modern take on basically a Stratocaster. Yeah. It's a hum single with some attractive pickup switching options and attractive finishes. No pick guard. Nope. Gorgeous inlay and stuff, and like people are buying them. Big surprise, right? Yep. And it's
How about that?
And I bet you the average age of people buying the Fiore is probably lower than the people buying the Silver Sky, even.
Right.
By a year or two. Not tons, but like a year or two. Because there are older people that would still buy the Silver Sky.
Of course. I know a lot of older people that buy the Silver Sky.
Right.
Personally. But that said, the Fiore, I think, is in the, your average is probably going to be in the mid to early 30s.
Right. All right.